All right, guys. So, a little bit more about the case of Sandra Birchmore. A little bit that I did not cover in the first video. So, I mentioned it was now being investigated as a homicide because of Dr. Baden's letter that he wrote to the Birchmore's lawyer. Some of the evidence that they have is Matthew Farwell is said to be the last one to see Sandra alive. They have a video of her going up into her apartment. A few minutes later, he comes in. It's alleged that he's trying to hide his identity. He's completely covered. You can't see his face. He's crouched down to hide some of his height. He goes up. This is February 1st, the day that it is believed she died, or that she was last seen. So he goes up, he comes down a minute or two later and leaves the apartment building, and she's never seen again. 2 days later, the school she worked for called the Canton Police Department to do a welfare check because she had not come into work for the last 2 days, and it was very unlike her. When they got into the apartment, that is when she was found. The noose was tied to a doorknob. In Baden's letter, one of the things that he uses to disagree about the suicide is the fracture of a right hyoid bone. If you know what that is, it's here. And that is not seen very often in a self-hanging because there is not enough pressure in a self-hanging to put that hyoid bone in danger and the placement of the ligature. He says the fracture, along with Birchmore's other injuries, are commonly found in homicidal strangulation, but not suicidal strangulation. The autopsy photos also show a piece of the ligature was entangled in Birchmore's hair, which occurs, according to Baden, during resistance of a homicidal strangulation. Baden says that more than likely Birchmore lost consciousness within a few seconds and then died within a few minutes. And according to, in his opinion, the ligature tying to the doorknob was to give the appearance of a suicidal hanging. So Matthew was interviewed by the Massachusetts State Police about his visit on the 1st. He claims he went there to end the relationship, tell her that he was not the father of her baby, and left. He says that she was upset, but did not make any suicidal comments. So that is the part that they are investigating about the homicide. A little bit of Sandra's background. As I said, she was part of the Stoughton Police Young Adventurers, I think it was called, I could be wrong, program where teenagers get to mentor with police and see what it's like to be a police officer. Birchmore is reported to have always wanted to be a police officer. She held them in high honor as far as police. They are saying that Morrissey's office, as we know, is under federal investigation already because of the Karen Reed thing. And they are also now investigating this. And they are investigating all three men. Matthew, William, or I should say Matthew has already entered an agreement, refused to admit any wrongdoing, but in the agreement he is prohibited from working as a police officer in the state of Massachusetts. He's been added to a national database of sanctioned officers. The other two men, William Farwell and Devine, their proceedings are still pending for their decertification for working as a police officer. So that is a little bit more in the case, the homicide case that they're investigating. I've included a picture of the surveillance where Farwell enters her apartment. There's a picture that you see of him in a doorway showing how tall he normally is. And then if you look at the surveillance picture, it seems like what people are saying is true, and he is allegedly crouching down trying to hide his height. So if I hear of anything concerning the Karen Read or any more information on Sandra, I will put up a video. All right, guys, thank you so much, and let me know what you've heard. Maybe you've heard something different.